Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the 92nd edition of the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 92, live in various parts of PA, Delaware, and the state of New York now. But I'm rocking out right now with Trey and Amina. This is the controversial trio right now. Matt should be incoming, But until then, go ahead and reintroduce yourself, Trey.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back again on the podcast. I'm down here in Kissimmee, Florida. It's nice and warm, not 20 degrees. Uh, um, but it's good to be back on the podcast. If you haven't already, I think Kylan shared our Facebook page, so go on over to our Facebook page, Crossover Sport Podcast. Give it a like, and we'll be posting the link and everything to the podcast. But yeah.
Go ahead, Amina.
Hi everyone, it's Amina. Joining everyone is hot over 90-degree day in the city of Philadelphia. We got some great topics to discuss today of various subjects, and let's get started.
See, Amina messed up. She's the only one live from Titletown, USA over there. And she over there saying, so just doing the name Philly over here. But yeah, so we're live, and we are gonna start off with it's not really crossover hot takes, but our crossover hot takes, which are we got a couple of them today, but we're just gonna do the regular topics and save the hot takes for later. All right. Can the Los Angeles Lakers resurrect their old glory days? Or is the franchise a relic of the past? And the other half of this question is, what does LeBron James' addition to this organization mean going forward? Go ahead, Trey.
The Lakers are in a interesting position after signing LeBron James, and trying to get my thoughts together. I'm sorry. They're in a really interesting position with LeBron James and Magic Johnson in the front office, and then some of the pieces that they've added in free agency, I think, are going to help them. I don't know that it will help them beat the Warriors. I don't think it would. But in terms of depth, it will help them. Can the Lakers bring back, resurrect the glory days? I don't with this team, no, not I wouldn't say so. Maybe 5 years down the line when, some of the younger guys, if they don't have the trade, if something happens, before the season starts and some big trade happens and they get Kawhi Leonard or something like that. But if the Lakers are able to resurrect the so-called glory days, I think it'd be down the road, maybe even after LeBron James retires, to be honest with you. Because we all know LeBron James is 33 now, and I think he has 3 years left in the tank probably. And even if he has more in the tank, I think we all know that LeBron James really takes care of his body. He's always thinking about family and after, what he wants to do after basketball. So right now, I don't think the Lakers are in a position. Excuse me. I don't think the Lakers are in a position to resurrect their glory days now, but I can see it definitely in the future because it's clear to me that Magic Johnson wants to win now, and he enticed the greatest player of this generation to come and play for him. So that says to me that Magic Johnson not only is there to win and wants to win, but he also knows what he's doing, and he knows to attract how to attract top tier talent, and people would want to play for him, even though he's not a coach, right? Um, and then as far as LeBron James going forward, like I said, LeBron James I think has 3 years left, and in 3 years you can do a lot. But unless they get Kawhi Leonard or there's some blockbuster trade that builds some sort of super team with the Lakers, I don't see LA I don't see them as a team that could be a serious threat to the Warriors. Could they beat them in the regular season? Yeah. In a 7-game series, I don't see it happening. So LeBron James' addition to the Lakers going forward is good on the surface, but underneath there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of it's just very iffy as to whether or not they will actually be able to win. I know like I said, Magic Johnson wants to win, and he has a history of winning when he was a player. The question is, will they actually win come playoff time? Regular season, they'll probably. I think they'll be fine. Playoff time is the real. That's when it comes down to it.
Go ahead, Amina.
Great analysis from Trey. I agree with everything he said. But adding my own two-piece to the situation, I say for the first part of the question, possibly they may be able to, but not right now. The Lakers are in a situation where they are in rebuild mode. Basically, they have a bunch of players doing a bunch of different things on their court, on the floor when they're playing, and it needs to get stabilized for it to even be a conversation in depth of returning back to how they once were as far as a franchise. um, they have a lot of young people on their roster now, so it's not like the senior citizen club anymore. But they still have work to do because, like their records show, they haven't been to a playoffs since 2013, and they hadn't won a finals since 3 years before that in 2010. So basically, for almost 10 years, they've had no real success as far as the franchise. But I believe, going into the second part of the question, that with the presence of LeBron James, they may be able to get further than what they were. They may, from right now where I can see, they may win possibly 45 games to 60, maybe around there, just starting out on its first year with the team, and then see how it goes the next season. But his addition to the team is the workings of Magic Johnson, and he went out and scouted them and signed with them. So I guess he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's one of the greatest Lakers of all time, without an argument. But right now, they're not in the position to resurrect themselves as far as the old days. Are they in a position to build on that? Yes. To get back to that point, yes, but not right now for this season coming. Mm-mm. But we'll see, as Trey said, maybe 3 to 5 years from now where they are compared to now. Kylan turn.
The Lakers are very much in position to, not right now, as everybody said, but eventually, I don't think it's going to be players in the Western Conference, and short of Adam Silver and them throwing them a bone and getting rid of the conferences, I don't think that the Lakers will be. I think they'll be a 5, 6, 7, or 8 seed. I don't see them making it in the top 4 because I don't think that they're better than. I definitely don't think they're better than the Warriors. I don't think they're better than the Rockets. Who was the 3rd seed? They might be a little bit better than the Thunder, but I don't know. The Thunder have that dynamic duo of Paul George and Russell Westbrook, so I definitely don't think they're better than the Thunder.
And so, you're forgetting the Spurs and the Pelicans. They made it to the playoffs this season. So
yeah, if Kawhi Leonard stays on the team, they're definitely not better than the Spurs. But like I said, that's a war of attrition between the Spurs and the Lakers because right now they're fighting to see which team can have nothing but one superstar and nothing else behind that in their team. Now, as I said before with the Lakers, and this is what happens when you get LeBron James. We've seen it in Miami. We've seen it in Cleveland. With a lot of things that goes on with LeBron is basically a war of attrition. You'll be good for 3 years, but you won't get those top picks that you need. You won't get anything that will improve your team after LeBron leaves. Now, for the Lakers, they have Brandon Ingram, but they might not keep him depending on whether they trade for Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, or whoever else they're trying to trade for. So, I don't really think that the Lakers in the long run will be better. They'll be just as good, if not better, and they'll probably be in better position than the Lakers, than the Heat and the Cavaliers were after LeBron left. But outside of that, they're not really going to be in position to win a championship outside of these 3 years, especially if the Warriors stay together. And if the Warriors continue to stay together, then the Lakers can look forward to Western Conference eliminations the next 3 years. But if something happens, now everything, like I said, is a season. But the addition of LeBron James has definitely added it's definitely added to the tenure of Magic Johnson, like Trey said and Amina said, because Magic Johnson staked his hiring on being able to get big-time talent to come to LA, and it gets no bigger than LeBron James. So, I'm excited. I didn't believe it would happen, but they were able to get a big fish to come to LA finally. And, they now can be productive for 3 years, get the playoffs back. But outside of maybe the second round of the Western Conference, I don't really think LA will be able to resurrect their old ways of winning. And I think that if you're a Lakers fan and you're not delusional, you would know that you're probably not going to the finals this year, maybe not even next year. Like I said, as long as the Warriors are there and at full strength, don't expect anybody to be in the finals outside of the Warriors. But in the West at least. But like I said, for me, getting LeBron James is great for you, but it winds up hurting you in the long run because, like I said, you're not getting those picks. You're not able to add the depth, especially once his contract starts taking full effect on the Lakers salary cap, and they're not able to keep a Brandon Ingram. They have to get rid of Alonzo Ball or Kyle Kuzma. Once the war of attrition starts, the Lakers will find out why it's not always good to have LeBron James on your roster. There are some people that look at LeBron James and say, he's a great player, which he is. But, with great players, especially a player like LeBron James, cost you a lot when it comes to your future, when it comes to adding to the death of Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma when it comes to, because obviously what's going to happen is you're not going to trade LeBron James, so you got to trade either Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, or Brandon Ingram, and we know the Lakers don't really want to do that, but that's what happens with LeBron James. He comes to your team, all the young talent goes away, your team all of a sudden becomes old, and you can't compete in the young man's NBA. So to answer the question, I believe that the Lakers will be resurrected, but not to their old glory days. I think they'll be able to make the playoffs. And like I agree with Trey, I think he's only got about 3 years, maybe 4 in him left. Then after that, it's over, and then the Lakers will be back to normal. Losing a superstar, not having much behind that. Just like
The contract is for 4 years, though. So.
Just like what happened. That's true. Very true. Just like what happened once Kobe left, you had the aging superstar with a great contract that wound up costing you a lot. So that's what happens. This is why I'm against giving people on the downturn of their career a contract, even if that is LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, or any other old player. Eventually, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons when they get too old. I'm against giving people the lifetime achievement. Here's your biggest contract. Even though LeBron James spends $1.2 billion on his body, Father Time is undefeated. It's a matter of time. Moving right along. Donald Trump. We'll say that for last. So Serena Williams is one of the most drug-tested athletes in tennis, right? So our reaction to the fact that Serena Williams is one of the most drug-tested athletes in tennis. Go ahead, Trey. Are you there? All right. Mina, go ahead.
Yes. Serena Williams. It came out, I would say, probably last month that I seen. I don't know when it specifically came out, but I seen it first last month on a few articles online. Check out Google. That stated that Serena Williams is drug tested on a frequent, regular basis, more often so than her other counterparts in the universe of tennis, as far as the sport is concerned. When I look at tennis players over the years, other than her sister, and back in the day with Arthur Ashe, and one other person, I can't think of their name at the moment. I think of tennis as a traditionally Caucasian sport. And they usually just do what they do. They go out there, practice, get money, do this and that. But when a black person comes along, it's already hatred because they know that the person is coming and the person is of a different, racial background. And they're discriminated from day one. Sure, they may be able to sign contracts, get money, endorsements, all that, win trophies, games, whatever. But outside of that, they're always looked at as as suspicious. Um, they shouldn't be able to win all these games that we can. We've been here longer. The hate for the melanin in black people's bodies is at an all-time high in this country right now, especially towards black women in different arenas as far as sports. It's just the hate. Like, they can't let the black women be great. Like, Serena's been sprinkling that black girl magic in the tennis world for well over 2 decades, probably near 3 decades by now. since the 90s, the early 90s, when her and her sister started out playing tennis with their father coaching them in their native Compton, California neighborhood. This is in even back then, her and her sister and their father all got hate at the hands of white people. Didn't want them to come to the parks that play tennis with them. Didn't want them to sign up for leagues to play in. Didn't want them here there. It's just travel. And now that she's an adult, it's upgraded itself to, oh, we don't want you here, but we're still going to allow you to be here, but you got to get drug tested more often so we know that you're not doing anything illegal as far as your urine and blood samples for narcotics. We want to make sure that you're not pumped up on steroids because you keep winning all these games and you keep going to Wimbledon and you keep winning all this stuff and no one else can beat you and all that. It is what it is. I mean, she's getting older now. She's hitting 40 years old. She has a husband and a daughter now. And she's at the point where I believe that she's going to be retiring soon and hand off the reins of the tennis world to the next black sister that's coming after her, whoever she may be. And it's just the hate produced. It's like you all think that she's taking narcotics and steroids to get successful. No, it's her melanin. It's her father. It's her strength. You just can't accept that the black woman is better than you and always will be better than you. And I'm a black woman like her, so I take it offense because if I was playing tennis, I most likely would be drug tested more often than the white girls on the team or the league like she is. So it's a personal situation. Unfortunate, but still. But she'll be alright. She's about to get out of the tennis world soon, or very soon. She has less years than more years now under her belt to go, but she'll be fine. Take her money and go do other things in your life as far as whatever you want to do. But the disrespect is at an all time high, as I said, and it's got to end. Next person.
Trey, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Um, Serena Williams is. I mean, we all know she is not only probably the greatest, one of the greatest tennis players of all time. She's probably up. She's up there in terms of the greatest athletes of all time.
The GOAT of
Um,
tennis.
right. Um, and to see that she's getting drug tested more often than others, is a shame. And I don't know all the details about it, about um, if there's been an explanation as to why, or but it is a shame, and it shouldn't be happening. Um, and the only logical explanation I can think of is that one, she's black, and two, she is she's a very athletic woman in terms of her body type, and I mean, when people look at her, black, white, Hispanic, when people look at her, they're like, she's an athletic specimen, really, to be honest with you. Um, and if it were anything, you would think that they would test for like Pete, steroids or something like that. That would be, but they're testing for drugs more often. Like that doesn't even make any sense. Like why, why is she tested more often for drugs? I mean, it again, it's a shame and it shouldn't be happening. I mean, unless the only reason why somebody should be tested more often, had to do a drug screen or a drug test more often than somebody else, is somebody who has a prior history, right? So if somebody, failed the drug test in the past, and they said you fail again, you're suspended or something like that. Um, and so they test that person more often because they have a prior history of failing drug tests. But as far as I'm concerned, Serena hasn't had that issue. So there's no reason why she should be going through drug screening or drug tests more often than anyone else. Um, and it just goes to show that the difference between men's sports and women's sports. You've never seen this be something like this has never been an issue with LeBron James, right? But yet and still we're seeing this with Serena Williams, and I think it has to do with the fact that one, she's black, and two, that she's a woman. I think it's simply that.
The hate for that black girl magic is at an all-time high.
To be Serena Williams is the GOAT of one of the top three GOATs in the world. There's Michael Jordan, there's Tiger Woods, and then there's Serena Williams. People may want to argue about Tiger. Nobody argues about MJ, but three of the best black athletes in their sports in the world. Two of them in white sports. Tiger in golf. Whether Tiger wants to claim it or not, he's half black, and Serena Williams is full black. And to hear this, when I read that article, we've been missing out on this for the past couple of weeks because there's been more pressing stuff in the sports world. But especially on the eve of Serena Williams, unfortunately losing to Angelique Kerber today in Wimbledon, the Wimbledon final, you understand that Serena Williams and her sister Venus are the queens of tennis, right? We tune in to watch them play, especially when they're playing each other, playing in a doubles match, playing for their country in the Olympics. We tune in because they have been on top, as Amina said, for at least 20 plus years, going on 30. Greatness is never appreciated until after it retires, unfortunately. And Venus is already semi-retired. You don't really see her unless it's in the major tournaments. So you only see her 4 times a year. Serena Williams, we've seen even less because of the fact that she was pregnant and had a child. So, you have to appreciate greatness. And the fact of, Serena Williams has never failed a drug test, but I was about to say Martina Navratilova. Sharapova has a couple of times, as a matter of fact. And, I thought it was a shame, and we'll get to this later about the WNBA. I thought it was a shame that for the past 2, 3, 4 years, Trey and Serena, and Amina can correct me if I'm wrong, but, I thought it's been a shame that, Sharapova was the top athlete being paid in tennis these past 2 to 3 years. And I was all like, does Serena and Venus not exist? How can somebody, a noted steroid user, these are all facts I'm about to say. You can look it up. This is not fake news. Sharapova failed the drug test, had to petition through her government to play tennis again because she was supposed to be banned from tennis because it was her second failed drug, right? She actually was supposed to be banned from the sport because she failed the drug test and the steroid test. So, Russian athletes always doing something. So, she was supposed to be banned because she also came up in that sample, I believe, when they took Russian athletes from the last Olympics, and they were all supposed to be banned, and she came up. But that privilege right there of being able to petition and get back in the sport, right? And but she's actually failed more drug tests than Serena Williams. Yes, Serena Williams by a wide margin is the most drug tested athlete in tennis. And it's no surprise just because of how built she is. Most people, black, white, or whatever, think she a man anyway, which is another one that I've been mad about since she came in tennis. You know, I am not a fan of greatness not being appreciated. I am not a fan of people not appreciating the fact that Serena Williams tennis is game is based on is the antithesis of tennis. Like tennis is supposed to be graceful, ballerina, gymnastic like. Serena is fierce with her urban style of tennis. And she has revolutionized tennis for black women, black men. Now she's revolutionizing tennis for working moms, and it's just a shame that she's never really been appreciated by this sport the way she should be. And this is yet another example of that, her being the most drug tested athlete, but she never failed a drug test. It's just unbelievable to me. Go ahead, Dre. Andre, you there?
What's the question?
Serena, your reaction to Serena Williams being the most drug tested athlete.
Racism. We keep dealing with the racism in sports in America. It's absurd, man. Like she's a legend. Like she's a Hall of Famer. I don't understand why they keep drug testing her. Like, what do you expect to find? You're not going to find drugs in her system. She's not going to risk everything for some drugs. She's a mom. She's a wife. She comes from a good family. She comes from a good background. It's just absurd that they keep treating her like this. They're treating her like she's nobody. You should have a reputation by now. It's not that she should have some special royal treatment. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like this is totally absurd, man. It's just wrong. That's it. It's just wrong. Just how they treat black people in America. It's just wrong.
So we're gonna move right along to our next question, which is, here's one we haven't talked about in a while. So, Papa John's Pizza founder and former CEO John Snatner, however he pronounces it. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna try and pronounce this right. John Snatner, I believe that's how he pronounces it. And our reaction to him being fired for dropping the N word during a conference call. Go ahead, Amina. We'll start backwards.
Oh, this dude again. Yeah. Okay, so for those who were not aware of what's going on with the founder and former CEO of Papa John's, John Streeter, what's going on is that it was discovered that back in the springtime this year, which was just mere weeks ago, I think it was maybe in either April or May, he was on a company conference call for the company and he repeatedly used the N word with the hard ER at the end, repeatedly, multiple times, sporadic. And I need to hear the rest of the audio tape of other than the N words. I can understand what they were talking about because it obviously was not anything concerning their disgusting pizza. But outside of that, this company should have been got rid of him a long time ago, on and off over the years.
Ooh. Can I say what they were probably talking about? I know what they were probably talking about. Oh, our profits are down because
we know, but I still want to hear the audio. But anyway,
go ahead.
But anyway, they should have been got rid of him. This is not the first, second, or third rodeo of him popping off at the mouth and saying really flies things concerning black folks. I don't know why black folks are still consuming and patronizing the company's establishments. For all that, make your own pizza at home. It's fresh. It's good for you at home. But just last year, he was so adamantly against Colin Kaepernick and his movement. And this January, he stepped down from a bulk of his leadership positions with the company. But now the company has totally gotten rid of him outside of his name still bearing on the company, which they need to change the name of the company, by the way, if really wanted to do away with them. But and before that, he made some statements about blacks and Latinos with Obamacare while Obama was still president and some other mess before that. It's just a ticking time bomb. And this was eventually going to happen because he was not removed years ago when he should have, when he made the first remarks. And now he's coming out saying, oh, I was pressured to say the N word. No, you wanted to say the N word repeatedly. No one just flies off the handle and starts popping off at the mouth saying the N word because they were pressured. This is 2018. Get real and be honest. Like, seriously. No one can pressure a grown adult, man or woman, to do anything. You wanted to say those words because they were in your soul. Stop tripping and, like, seriously. So now it's come out that he said what he said, and now places are no longer want to do with him anymore. Even Morehouse College, the alma mater of Dr. King, Julian Bond, Spike Lee, Samuel L. Jackson. Morehouse College, they came out, I think either yesterday or today, to say that they will no longer have Papa John's pizza on their campus. And Morehouse is a big school in HBCU in Atlanta, Georgia, for men. That this is huge. If HBCUs, that like infamous ones, like really well known ones, are doing away with you, you got high schools that once had connections to this dude that are taking his name down from buildings. Like they're changing the names of programs and stuff. Like universities no longer want to have anything to do with you. Like you done. Like you out. Like the N word in 2018. We're supposed to be moving forward and progressing in society, and you just took things back a good 100 years for no reason other than the fact that you're a bullying ticking time bomb that should have been cut off when you said the first thing that you said some years ago. But it's a shame. It's a shame that it takes something like this for black folks to truly wake up and realize that we need to be supporting our own. I've never liked Papa John's pizza. Personally, I have a vendetta against it. But I know so many black folks that enjoy it. I'm like, come on, the company hates black people, and you're sitting up there giving them your money and patronizing them. Like, what's wrong with you? Lord? I just wish my people would get it together. And to the company, I believe that with all this that's going on, they're either going to change their company name or they're going to go under and go out of business. One of the two scenarios is going to happen sooner rather than later, just waiting on what's going to go on for them. Next person.
Pray. CT3 is on you.
Sorry, my phone is acting weird. Yeah, so it's this. I wasn't surprised when I saw this news, and I don't think any of us really were surprised. I think it's really interesting because back in January when he initially resigned, as CEO. He admitted that he made a mistake with his comments about the NFL. And then recently I was reading another article about it was just talking about what happened recently, and he said John Schnatter, sorry, I cannot pronounce that last name, said that again he made a mistake, but he made the same mistake that he made last time with the NFL comments. And I heard some people saying that he didn't deserve to get fired, blah blah blah. But in the business world, and he knows this, it's a cutthroat world. You make a mistake, you get punished, right? There's second chances, but you make that same mistake again, or you make a similar mistake, you're done. It's just as simple as that. You don't get, you don't get second chance after second chance after second chance after second chance, especially when it comes to issues of racism or something as simple as not using the N-word. And whether the context was that he was calling black people the N-word or he was making a comment about something that used to happen and use the N-word, it doesn't matter because he said the word. And there's this whole thing going around that he was pressured to use the N-word. And I don't care if he was pressured or not. What, were they going to kill him because he didn't say the N-word? You don't say it, because what that says to me is that if his people and he's saying that I was pressured, and so what they're saying is that it justifies it because he was pressured, right? And it's like, what? That doesn't matter whether you were, you were pressured or not. It's still wrong. It'd be like if I went and robbed, a bank or a grocery store, and then afterwards I go to prison, and my case in court is that I was pressured into robbing the bank. My best friend pressured me into doing it, so I did it. I still committed a crime. It's the same thing with him. It's the same thing with Papa John. The N-word is not a word that should be said, right? And because of its negative connotations towards African American people. So just because he got pressured into saying it does not negate the negative connotations of the N-word. And in fact, it makes him look even worse and more foolish for thinking that people would accept an apology from someone who told them I said the N-word, but I was pressured to do it, so it's okay. Because that's what he's saying that's really what the case they're making is. I was pressured into doing it. I didn't really want to say it, but I said it anyway, knowing the negative connotations that it has and knowing the reputation that I already have nationwide and within the African American community. Literally, you have a whole community of people who have decided that they're like, okay, I'm not going to eat Papa John's pizza anymore. And in your head, and I'm speaking as John Schnatter, you don't think, hey, maybe I shouldn't use a word that has negative connotations toward a group of people who are single-handedly destroying your business. And I agree with you, Amina. Papa John's is in a position since January or whenever he made those comments, because I know he resigned in January. I don't know if he made the comments in January. Papa John's has,
he made the comments last year, 2017, but January starting 2018, right. He stepped down.
But since all of this went down, Papa John's, they are in a situation where if things get worse, and they are going to get worse, they're gonna have to go. They're gonna go under. It's that bad. I currently work at Domino's, and Papa John's used to be number one. it got so bad that Papa John's just like in terms of overall value and sales per year. I mean, Papa John's is just dipping by the second, and as a result, Domino's actually, I believe, sometime in I want to say March, took over the number one pizza business, the spot of number one pizza business in the nation. So, and I don't want to ramble, but John Schnatter
And
is,
and
I mean,
Pizza Hut took over for the NFL.
right? Pizza Hut took over, but I'm saying just in terms of sales and revenue, Domino's is number one. But it's a sticky situation for John Schnatter, and to be honest with you, he just needs to he needs to cut himself off, really. Cut himself off from the media. Don't do any interview. Don't do any more interviews, because if he does any more interviews, I mean, I can't trust that he's gonna say something intelligent, or make an intelligent apology or case as to why he thought it was okay, regardless of whether he was pressured or not. Um, and again, I agree. I mean, Papa John's is more than likely will have to file for bankruptcy within the next year and a half or 2 years, unless Papa John's and their new management is able to, because they fired him. But that doesn't mean that there's other people in the organization that would think the same way as John Schnatter. So unless they're able to, not, because people aren't going to forget this, but if they're able to kind of put this on the back burner and remove anything that has to do with John Schnatter. I don't know if that means changing their company name, but if they can remove any connotations of him from the organization as a business, I think that they can recoup a little bit, but they're not going to be what they were. Papa John's at one point was, I mean, and I admit, I loved Papa John's pizza, and I still like their pizza. I like the way it tastes. And in my opinion, at one point, it was the best pizza. But I can't go into a Papa John's now and support their business solely because of what's happened in the last 7-8 months with their CEO and founder. So that's my thoughts.
Dr. Dre?
This racist piece of, you know what? I'm so proud of the organizations that ended a relationship with John Shatner and his company that he founded, Papa John's. I was just looking on Twitter at some of the posts, and rightfully so. People are getting on him. I like what one gentleman said. He said, Papa John's to rebrand as Uncle Jim Crows, because that's exactly what they are. They're a racist organization. They shouldn't have kept him in power this long. Once that first racist situation stepped up, came to light, they should have parted ways with him. And I felt like the organization should have too. I didn't realize he was still in all these stadiums and all that. Like Morehouse just said they ended a relationship with him. The Yankees said they suspended their relationship with him. I think it's the Cardinal Stadium. His name was on the building, so they taking his name off the building. Rightfully so, though. But pressure, like Trey said, how you feel pressure into saying some racist, like literally, what are they gonna do? Kill you? Dude, you wanted to say that. Stop grabbing for straws and finding every excuse. First of all, you need to stop talking. Because the more you talk, the worse you make it. You better off just issue an apology, and do everything you can to show the black community that you're sorry for what you did. You need to go in the hood and help build some houses, give away some money, give money back to black institutions. Do stuff like that. Make some real change. Don't just tell me you sorry and that you didn't realize what you did was that bad. Like, dude, are you serious? Like, come on, man. So, he's getting everything that's coming to him. The hell with him, like in his nasty pizza. Pizza Hut got the best pizza anyway.
I know that's right. Now that I can agree with. Seeing Pizza Hut.
Let me say this. I mean, we've been on John Statner since his comments on Colin Kaepernick. That was probably about 4, 5, 6 months ago. Last year, that's the last time we talked about Papa John's. I don't feel like he needs to get any more press because I'm not one of those people. Even though I am a member of the media, I don't really have that old media style of people deserve to be publicized, whether they're right or wrong. I don't agree with that if it leads philosophy that we have in media. But in this case, this man deserves to be ridiculed, not tarred and feathered, but and verbally tarred and feathered for, his out of date compliments. And this has made me really look at his co-owner in this, Peyton Manning. Now, before anybody gets upset and says, "Oh, Colin's saying that Peyton Manning's racist," I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you are who you hang around. Everybody knows that. And this is Peyton Manning's business partner. This is a man that Peyton Manning signed on for, and Peyton Manning is a believer. So this is a man who Peyton Manning decided to go into business with. Everybody knows that right next to Papa was Peyton Manning, and weirdly absent from this since his last couple of comments with Peyton Manning. And the fact that Peyton Manning hasn't said anything, it's his right. I'm not saying he needs to say anything. But in this case, this is your business partner. I assume that he was probably in this call since, Peyton Manning is the co-owner of Papa John's. So just the fact of I haven't heard from Peyton Manning makes me a little bit concerned that Peyton Manning hasn't said anything. Now, to the Manning's family credit, they tend to try and stay away from controversy. But I think in this case, since this is your business partner, this is also your business. I think Peyton Manning probably needs to break his silence. But to Mr. Statner, didn't you learn? I mean, this is a prime example of money can't buy you class. You already, as Trey, Amina, and Dre have pointed out, you already pissed off the black community because you said something about Colin Kaepernick. First off, why you have money and have Papa John's all over the place, specifically in the African-American community, and you say something about Colin Kaepernick is beyond me. That's stupidity that money can't buy. And, just that makes me just question the intelligence of somebody who's supposed to be smart enough to make a lot of money. Some people would say, stay away from this. The only reason you weren't fired is because you own the company. But here you are saying something stupid again. Now they're taking your name off stadiums. Now you're losing the Yankees. You're losing Morehouse College, which, by the way, sorry to all the Morehouse grads, why y'all were not raising a bigger stake about the fact that this man's pizza was on y'all campus after what he said about Colin Kaepernick is beyond me. Why it took this long is beyond me. Yankees, why it took you this long is beyond me. But that's just me. And, this is a literal thing. Controversy does not help you, man. When you're a controversial figure, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, and you make a lot of money, you should probably shut up when it comes to insulting the black community. You really should, especially if your money comes from it. You really should stay away from insulting the black community. Just keep Colin Kaepernick's name out your mouth. You'd be better off. You're not 45. Keep Colin Kaepernick, 45 is immune from this because we got to wait another 2 years to get rid of him. But you CEOs, you teachers, you people that think that, you're just beyond consequence, you're not the president of the United States. Let's get this clear. You are not beyond consequences. You really are. You're not beyond consequence. You're not beyond losing your job as these idiots that